If you're a skilled worker within the health and care sector on shortage occupational code 6145 and 6146, that is carer and senior carer route, after 11th of March 2024, will you be able to switch employer from one employer to a different employer and also add your dependents? This and many more I will be sharing with you in this very video. So many persons are asking from 11th of March when shortage occupational code 6145 and 6146 will not be able to bring in their dependent from abroad or within the UK when they are applying for visa from 11th of March. For those who are already in that visa route, if they are moving from one employer to a different employer on a different sponsorship, will they be able to also add their dependent or not? If you care to know more about all of this, to get a better clarification, you need to stick with me to the end of this video so we can dive into it right away and see what the UK government is saying about it, if you can be able to move in from one employer to another with your dependents from 11th of March 2024. Hi guys, welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you all know, my name is Victor. If you're coming across this channel for the first time, in this channel I give latest updates on ways you can migrate to United Kingdom, ways you can study abroad, and ways you can settle in when you arrive in the UK as a new migrant. If this content looks exciting to you and you gain value for this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to join the amazing evergreen family. And for my returning subscriber, thank you very much for always coming back to watch my video. I do appreciate. So guys, without further ado, let's get started. So many questions are coming up as regards the ban on skilled workers within the health and care visa route on shortage occupational code 6145 and 6146 from bringing in their dependents to the UK from 11th of March 2024. So many persons are asking questions, most especially those who are currently on that shortage occupational code 6145 and 6146. Will they be able to move from one employer to another on a different sponsorship and also add their dependents? This has become worry for so many persons here in the UK who are currently on the health and care visa route. With this new rule built in place, is it that you can no longer move from one employer? You'll be stuck with one employer for the duration of your sponsorship, or trying to work with that same employer for 5 years when you are qualified to apply for ILR before you can leave that employment because you already have dependent. If you are leaving that employment to a different employment on a different sponsorship, what will happen to your dependent? So many questions. A friend called me last week and tried to explain his current predicament he is currently having with his employer and is willing to change to a different employer as he has started looking for a job or visa sponsorship from different employers. He hasn't gotten any at the moment, but since he has the experience and other certification, he believes he can get an employment with a different employer, but he doesn't know how soon this will come, if it will come before March 11th or after March 11th. But he's trying to see how he can guide himself to get the right information in the event that he gets a different employer that is willing to sponsor him after March 11th, if he can be able to switch to a different visa route with his dependents who are currently living with him here in the UK. So this actually prompted me to do further research and all that. And I find out you can actually move from one employer to a different employer and also add your dependent, right? Since you're already on the skilled workers route on same shortage occupational code 6145 or 6146, you can move from one employer and also add your dependent. It does not stop you from doing that. Let me read this to you so you can get a better clarification about you moving from one employer to another and also adding your dependents. Care workers and senior care workers already in the route will be able to remain with their dependents, including extending, changing employer, and settlement. So you can extend your visa sponsorship period at the expiration of the current visa sponsorship and tenure with your current employer, or you can as well get a different employer that is willing to sponsor you and also move with your dependents. So you will not be stuck with one employer. You can move from one employer to a different employer on the same shortage occupational code. If you are moving from one company to the other or one care company to the other on the same shortage occupational code, you can still move in with your dependent. The law does not restrict you. So for those who are inquisitive to know about this is an update, right? So those who are currently worried because they intend switching from one employer to the other but do not know how it will pan out, if they will be able to add their existing dependent, this is also a good news for you. You can move from one employer, you can extend with your employer, you can change your employer, still within the same shortage occupational code. You can also move in with your dependent. So nothing restricts you, no limitation as regard changing employer and also adding your current dependent. So this is good news to all migrants, those who are currently working in the UK and do not feel satisfied or have job satisfaction with their current employer. You can decide to look for a different employer who is willing to sponsor you, and you can move in with your dependent from 11th of March onward. No restriction. The new changes to the UK immigration rules do not limit or stop you from moving from one employer to the other within the same shortage occupational code. This is an update for those who are calling, testing to know if they can switch from one employer to the other with their dependent. Good news to another clarification here for those who are coming in on a skill set 6145 and 6146, that's carer and senior carer route. If you make your application before 11th of March 2024, you can still come in with your dependent. So if you are able to submit your application on the 9th or on the 10th of March 2024, in as much they've received your application, and that same application they receive, they assess all the documents you use in applying for the visa, and the visa is approved, you can still come in with your dependent, right? The law only states those who made the application on or after 11th of March 2024 will not be able to apply to bring in their dependent. But if you've made your application and they've received your application before 11th or after 11th, so that is to say, if your application gets to them on the 10th, on the 9th, on the 10th, and that same application is approved after doing all due diligence, you can still come in with your dependents. For applications made on or after 11th March 2024, care workers on shortage occupational code 6145 and senior care workers occupational code 6146 under the health and care visa will not be able to bring dependent as part of their application. If you make your application before 11th of March 2024, that's to say, if your application gets to the visa authority on the 10th and that same visa is considered and approved, then you can be able to apply to bring in your dependent. But once your application gets to them on or after 11th of March 2024, that same applicant cannot apply to be able to come in with their dependents. So guys, for those willing to come into the UK, if you have everything in place, don't allow this to deter you. You can make your application as fast as possible. Ensure that the application gets to them before 11th. If you can get to them on the 8th, on the 9th, on the 10th, and that same application is considered and approved, you can as well apply to bring in your dependent. This is another update. We need to explore some of this new rule to see how those who are at the verge of making their visa application can benefit from. The same way some persons also benefited from paying the previous IHS fee because they're able to make haste in making their visa application when the extension date of 16th of January moved to 6th of February 2024. So some persons who are able to make the application faster, you're able to pay the old fee for IHS as against paying the £1,035 that is currently being paid for migrants who are making visa application outside the health and care visa route. So guys, I thought of sharing this update and clarification for those who are intending to make their visa application right before March 11th, 2024, so they can be able to come in with their dependent. We got to the end of this video. If you gain value for this video, guys, don't forget to subscribe to this channel to join the amazing ever-growing family. And for my returning subscriber, Thank you very much for always watching my video. I do appreciate. You can give a thumb up. You can do that right away as you are watching, so YouTube can recommend to a wider audience, and so many persons, so many migrants out there can benefit from this valuable content. See you in my next video.